Hello, lovely podcast people. I don't know where I'm going to go with this podcast. I just wrote it down one day and thought it would be interesting to discuss. And I don't have. It's going to be a wisdom one. So it's niche. It's always niche when it's wisdom, isn't it? It's for those of you who just like, Socrates. I cannot teach you anything. I can but make you think. That's close to the actual quote. I think I've probably changed a few of his words. That just popped into my head. And that's kind of what this is. It's just, I'm not coming up with any answers. I'm not looking to attack anyone too much. Talking of attacking people, I don't know if you're on a watching platform, YouTube basically. I don't know how much of me you can see. Can you see what I'm wearing? Just wearing a t-shirt. It's just a comfy one. And this just turned up in the post one day and it says radical feminist. It just turned up in the post to the office one day, my name on it. No letter, no note, no nothing. This is 2 or 3 years ago. Out of nowhere. If you sent this to me, like, I don't know if it was someone trolling me or if it was someone, trolling me in a funny way or trolling me in like a trying to get at me way. That definitely didn't work. It's a really comfy, nice shirt, so thanks very much. Or this is because I was kind of like, there was a time I was sort of fairly pro-feminism, whereas I'm not really so much now. And I know some of you might be a bit like, oh, that's bad. Because I have people going to me like, you talk about feminists like you aren't one, you should be one. Aren't you one? You've got a daughter, blah, blah, blah. But I'm not a feminist in the same way that I'm not an omnivore. Like, I don't post it in my bio on Instagram. I'm not an activist. I'm just, I'm an egalitarian, which is what everyone should be. So, people who want equality. But unfortunately, feminism is just linked with the same way I'm not a men's rights advocate. I'm egalitarian, and unfortunately, I just feel like people end up fighting for the wrong things and just end up becoming anti the other gender. With whether they mean to or not, it happens and it just creates divide. So I'm just kind of anti it. If you feel the need to put it in your bio, not that I'm against you as a person if you do or whatever. I just think it's inherently has issues involved with it. Anyway, that was off topic. But it maybe sets some of the tone for what I'm going to talk about. So, the topic I'm going to talk about is people who are now anti-diet. And actually, I swear on my children's lives, this was not on purpose. Like, I just pulled this out of the drawer. But it's funny because actually lots of these individuals kind of are these kind of social justice warrior types. And good and bad. Like, I have really close friends who identify as, specifically identify as, I guess, feminists and anti-diet people and anti-diet culture. And, this is one of those things. You can be friends with someone and not necessarily see eye to eye on things or, share exactly the same views or interpret things differently. And some of them are the people I guess I'm talking about. And then there are other people as well who are on a more extreme end of the scale and who I don't think do a great job, who are much more negative in that world and aren't evidence-based and actually at all and spout rubbish and misinformation, and it's not great. But this genuinely isn't to attack anyone. It's just to maybe give some of you and whoever, and also, as I wasn't going to record this evening, and then I just thought I'm going to, because I've been umming and ahhing about it, and then I thought, do you know what? There is a level here of what I want to get across of compassion, and hopefully some putting some positive words in some people's minds. I recorded a SALT podcast, and actually one of the things that I was going to say in that one that I didn't was just about, actually this is quite a niche subject on SALT, but really if my podcasting and even one episode can just help one or a handful of people massively in their life, that's a really nice thing for me. My hope is that the podcast would get millions and millions of listeners like Joe Rogan's podcast, and because I'm, the information I put out is very helpful and very factual and whatever, then it would just help loads of people. Same with my Instagram. I just think, I'm always posting up people changing their lives based on the free information I post. Completely free. 99.9% marketing free, because 51 out of 52 weeks a year we're not have nothing to sell, and our nutrition course tends to just sell out anyway, and I'm not particularly motivated on growing this huge empire business. I don't have the time to. Anyway, I would love it if the Instagram algorithm would push that sort of stuff instead of rubbish. Anyway, so yeah, I thought to myself, this could be just a level of people having some positive view changes about themselves, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, it's not well thought out. And my point is this: people who are anti-diet culture, anti-intentional weight loss. And I will say this, which will trigger some people. Lots of people who are anti-intentional weight loss are really just people who don't understand nutrition science and behavior change well enough, that they've never really been able to help people do those things. And I'm going to say it's lots of dietitians, unfortunately. And I'm not attacking individuals. It's the way you're taught. Dietitians, again, you're part of the problem, or were, who was kind of anti-fat and anti-salt because of the way you were taught for a long time. Newer dietitians, fortunately, are getting a slightly better crack at things. Now, unfortunately, I see this, that there are individuals who haven't really fully understood stuff, and as well, maybe have had eating issues themselves and therefore, diet culture and been misled and whatever. And I get that. And I too am anti-diet culture when the diet culture is just, food demonization is not good. And it's sort of a precipitating factor towards disordered eating or poor relationships with food, or even full-blown eating disorders sometimes. Of just people having these horrible food rules, being scared of food, anxiety around food, if it's what it's going to do to them, kill them or make them fat or whatever. And, hopefully people listening to this podcast know that I have a better than completely elementary understanding of weight stigma and the negative impact that does have. And, that we can't judge people's health purely based on their body weight or their body size and those kind of things. I'm understanding and an ally of good evidence people in this area. Unfortunately, you get muppets, of all ranges, junior surgeons, trainee surgeon, doctor, people, registered dietitians, book writers, fitness and Fitspos, physique models, whoever, who just are incapable of critical thinking, and they just swing from one extreme to the other. They just react. They're just all about Instagram likes and comments and engagement, rather than just, they're a bit like media outlets. They just don't sit back and consider evidence. They just want to be the one being heard and whatever. So The thing I wanted to just talk about here is one element of, nutrition is a journey, and we're all on a journey, right? And you have individuals who maybe, for whatever reason, and I'm not here to end weight stigma or sorry, I've got a bit of dry skin on my lip, give any good strategies or opinions on changing society's views on body image and stuff like that. But for whatever reason, people want to change the way they look, they're unhappy with the way they look, and they go on a nutrition journey. And I would love it if they found my content and changed things in a really positive manner, maintaining unconditional permission to eat anything, etc., etc. But unfortunately, some people go down the wrong route. I went down the wrong route in my own dietary exploits, and even was misled with regards to, insulin needing to control, all of the fitness industry myths and rubbish, because there wasn't Mac Nutrition Uni around there. There wasn't not another nutrition podcast around back then. There was no one really for me to have as a mentor, whatever. But people go on this journey and they lose in some instances, they maybe give themselves a really poor relationship with food. They maybe get an eating disorder or just a borderline eating disorder, subclinical, disordered eating. They're stick thin or whatever. And then, years go by and now they are happy and healthy and thriving and got loads of Instagram followers and whatever, doing their, anti-diet, join my fan club, my Facebook group, my sign up for my app where I teach you how to be happy and healthy and blah, 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 right? The problem is those individuals, a lot of them, a large percentage that I see, there is obviously another side of this, are in fantastic shape. They are, by all of society's standards, in the upper echelons of physiques, beauty, whatever. And they've only got to that place. Like, they'll post before, the before, the after, and the now. And now, yes, they tend to look much healthier and whatever, but on a rating scale of fitness, they look best now, better than the before they got the issues. And so there's A, B, and C. Could they have jumped from A to C? Maybe. But sometimes as well, and I'll just say this from a physiological standpoint, fat cells don't really tend to die or ever go. So apoptosis, signaled cell death, you have to be in a very, very harsh calorie deficit, borderline malnourished, bodybuilder diet, photo shoot-esque, long, prolonged dieting period for fat cells to actually die. And probably some of these individuals have got to that state. And then, we get this instance of, fat cell hypertrophy. Fat adipose tissue gets bigger, more fat goes into individual cells and they get bigger. Or fat cell hyperplasia, we get more of these fat cells, happens easily. But these individuals have gone to these extreme levels of dieting and which, it messes up their relationship with food, and maybe they've been unhappy and etc. But you can't deny it's part of their journey. And this is what I'm saying. I'm not giving answers. I'm not saying it's positive or negative or whatever. I'm just providing this instance of these individuals are now selling at you as an individual, going, don't ever diet. Despite the fact that be like me, I'm happy. Look how hot I am. Look at my boyfriend, girlfriend. Look at my life. Look how successful I am. Look how happy I am in a bikini. I'm trying to be like gender neutral here, but unfortunately it's 99% females in this realm, other than, a few gimp males who kind of jump on the bandwagon and sell books and whatever at the back of it because they don't know anything. I'm being very specific. Anyway, so in this instance, it's like you and they and whoever are now selling at you and saying, look how happy I am. You can love your body how it is. And it's like, yeah. And I hear and I see the comments like, yeah, but I don't look like you. And it's this instance of like, we should all work as much as possible to love ourselves and love your body. But that doesn't, like, again, there's this sort of big push of just like, love your stretch marks, love your whatever scars, love your all these things. And it's like, no, I can't. Like, I have a few stretch marks, I have cellulite, I have scars from acne, and I don't love them. But I'm confident, I'm, body confident, and I'll take my shirt off and stuff like that. It's still, when I get really hot, the scarring on my back from when I was a teenager is still there, and I still don't really like it. I'm still a little bit self-conscious about it, but I mostly just like don't really care. But there's just this big push for, don't ever diet, say no to diets. Diets are BS and diet culture, and don't intentionally try to lose weight. It'll just screw up your relationship with food. But yet Lots of the people doing this have dieted, have gone through these phases, have walked this journey and have come out the other side and do look different for the sake of it. And I do think you should do your very best to invest in changing your relationship with your body. And that, there are powerful evidence-based tools. We had Dr. Nadia Craddock speaking on body image at our Mac Nutrition Live conference. And in terms of happiness, like dieting isn't necessarily going to make you happy or it doesn't lead to happiness. It's a bit like money. Money doesn't make you happy, but you talk to people with a lot of money and I think it's like £60,000. Above that, you just don't get any happier. But from 0 to 60 in terms of the financial strife, like one of the biggest issues is a lack of money. There's still getting somewhere towards that actually is really undeniable. Like it makes things easier. Like even just the fact that we live in a society where being thin is rewarded. Like that can't be denied. Like fat activists and people in this area don't deny that weight stigma. So this is the problem, is the people you're talking to who don't look a certain way are, until you go ahead and change the world. Like my friend Shona Virtue is just a massive realist in this area of like practical things you can do to be confident in the gym and things that you can do, because in the gym you're still going to come up against, like I don't really like the phrase, but like the male gaze. And, I've got lots of sort of opinions around this, in terms of, as someone, me, who gets the male and female gaze. Not wanting to be arrogant, but like you have your triceps out, you wear a vest, you're in shape, whatever, people look at you. But anyway, but being practical, and I just saw a post of hers once where she was just like, look, this is, I'm not saying it's perfect, but until like times change, here's some things you can do about it. I'm not saying we should have to do these things, but this is the world we live in. And this is the problem with weight stigma. We live in a world where you still have doctors. One of the doctor types, Instagram celebrity gimps that I sort of keep alluding to, he admitted, I literally just saw patients as a number. I saw them as their BMI. If they were fat, that's all I focused on. And now I know different, and I would never encourage anyone to lose weight. Like, how unbelievably unethical is it for him to have said that? What a gimp. He just flitted from one side of being a moron completely to the other side of being a moron. Rather than going, I probably shouldn't take people only as their BMI. I should look a bit harder and be more patient-centered. Yeah, well done. And so in this instance, it's like, in the short term, it's like you can't just tell people don't ever try and change your weight, because actually that's not an inert and in the, intuitive eating realm. In fact, Helen West, when she did her talk on intentional weight loss and intuitive eating and the differences and pros and cons and things to consider, she sort of mentioned this as well, of like, if someone tries to go through a sort of intuitive eating protocol and gain lots of weight, like you can't just simply go, yeah, that's fine. Like you have to weigh up pros and cons. They may be improving their mental health, maybe, but also are they also worsening it because they are getting fatter, and because of society wrongly is going to be nastier to them, to really just talk very in plain language. What's the impact on them then? And then also we can talk about the physiological impact of that as well. So it's just a discussion, like you see these people thriving, I'm so happy, I'm body confident, but it's like, yeah, but you dieted for ages, ruined your relationship with food, fine. Dieted too hard, you became too obsessed. But look at you now, you're loving life. Would someone sacrifice a year, 2, 3 years to be where you are now? Go through that hell to do that? I don't know. That's for them to answer the question. I'm not saying they should, or I want them to. There's definitely better ways of doing things. But it's just this whole say no to diets, anti-diet stuff that just gets peddled without any real critical thinking going on whatsoever. Wow, I went around the houses there. No idea. I hope someone somewhere is going to find this helpful. I hope it just provides some, like I said at the beginning, like I'm not trying to teach you anything, I'm just trying to make you think. Stuff I think about. If we were sat in a pub together, maybe we would talk about that. I hope it wasn't too heavy. Anyway, probably not enough innuendos for some of you. Soz about that. We'll bring those back for another episode. Until next time, much love.